Good morning, everybody. This is the January 8th, 2025 meeting of the Cocoa Beach Special Magistrate. And my name is Lonnie Greer. I'm the Special Magistrate. And there's no one in the audience right now, so I assume there's no respondents here. Is that correct, Ms. Crawford?
Correct.
Okay, so although I know this is viewed on YouTube, or maybe viewed on YouTube, I'm not sure. I'm not going to go through the normal proceedings, explain the proceedings, since there's no respondents here, unless the city would rather I do so.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Then Ms. Crawford is here representing the city. Michael Bryan is here as the clerk to the proceedings. And Code Inspector
Javier Maza.
is here, Code Enforcement Officer, excuse me, is here also on behalf of the city. And I understand there may be some changes to the agenda that you would like to make?
Yes. So there's an old business case that I wanted to go over first. However, because the respondent isn't here and he's the one that requested the meeting, maybe we should just go
Okay,
in
we'll
order.
just charge on then with the cases in order. Are there any changes to the agenda that you would like to make?
Yes, there are some postponements. So the first case, we would like to postpone.
You want to continue that to the next meeting? Is that what
To February, please.
Okay, it's so continued.
Okay. The third case.
The third?
Yep, third.
Okay.
I would like to continue.
Okay, that case is continued till the next meeting.
And I would like to continue the fourth and fifth case as well.
The fourth and fifth, is that Brendan Miller?
Yes. Brendan Miller and then Richard Borer will be at the February Special Magistrate.
Richard Borer. Okay, those two cases that are Massey hearings are also continued. Which leaves us with the rest of the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Then the first case we'll call today is case number GSCE-24-325. The respondents are Donabelle Dean and John Dean.
Yes.
The property address is 412 Banana River Boulevard. I see somebody just walked in.
This is our city manager.
Oh, okay. How you doing, sir?
Hi, Wayne.
So, let me call the halls. Donabelle Dean or John Dean? Donabelle Dean or John Dean? Donabelle Dean or John Dean? I've called the halls three times and no one has appeared, so the city may proceed.
Right. So this is in reference to 412 Banana River Boulevard. If you could go to the next slide. We believe that they are in violation of Section 6-4C permits. We asked them to please obtain a permit for a shed that they erected on their property. If you go to the next slide. We also believe that they are in violation of Code Section 3-33 accessory structures. Their shed is positioned right on the property line and does not meet the required setbacks. Before I continue, can I enter this into evidence?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you had a...
Okay. Yeah, yes, please. Let me grab you one.
You're not Mr. Dean, are you, sir?
No, David, they're
Okay, thank you.
So I have a copy if you would like.
It's okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. And you'd like to offer this into evidence?
Yes, please.
So admitted.
If we could go to the next slide. The violation was first observed on October 21st. I first sent a courtesy letter on October 22nd. They did receive the letter. They called the city and stated that they would be pulling a permit. This was in November, the 25th. No permit was pulled, so I went ahead and sent a notice of violation as well as a citation on December 9th. The citation was in the amount of $100. A site visit was completed and the respondents met our building director, Dave. Again, they stated that they would be pulling a permit. However, still no permit has been pulled. On December 23rd, I went ahead and sent the notice of magistrate hearing, and we are here today. And this is the shed in reference. It's not strapped down, it's not on a concrete block that I can see, and it's just right on the property line where it should be, 5 feet from the property line and 5 feet from the water.
So it's a side setback violation and a rear setback violation.
Yes. So if we go to the next slide, essentially, we are asking that a permit be applied for within 10 days and that the shed be repositioned within 10 days. If either of those are not completed within that date set, we would like to issue a daily fine of $50 a day until in compliance.
All right, does the city have anything further?
No.
And I see that neither of the deans have appeared. So based upon the evidence presented at the hearing today, I'm going to find that the respondents are in violation of section 6-4C of the city code and sections 3-33 of the city code, and provide that the respondent shall come into compliance by obtaining the correct permits and remedying the setback violations within 10 days, which is January 17th of this year. And should the respondents not come into compliance as to either of the code violations, a fine of $50 per day shall run from the date of non-compliance until compliance, with the $50 per day being for each violation separately and not collectively. Is there anything further that the city has in that case?
Nothing further.
Okay. All right, which takes us to a Massey hearing.
Since Mr. Derderian is here, would we be able to?
That would be great.
Okay. Perfect.
Sir, would you like to be heard now?
That would be great. I apologize, I am sick as a dog today.
I'm sorry.
So, it's just a flu. It's nothing more serious than that. Where would you like?
Why don't you sit over here unless the city manager would like to get sick? I'm joking.
Under normal circumstances, I would have called and asked to reschedule this, but
Well, if you,
it's been such a struggle getting to this point.
okay, well, let's, the way this works, are you familiar with this?
Not really.
Okay, since this is a Massey hearing, which means the issue is whether or not you were in compliance as of the date you were supposed to be in compliance with the prior order that was issued. And the city is now going to present evidence about that. You'll have the ability to cross-examine Ms. Crawford, and then any other witnesses that may be brought forward. And then you can come and present your case, and the city will have the opportunity to cross-examine you also, and I'll make a decision at the end of the evidence being introduced.
Okay.
That's the way it works. So, Ms. Crawford, you may proceed.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing? I was under the impression that that's exactly what we were not going to do.
Well, you can raise that at the appropriate time, but I'm going to let Ms. Crawford present her case, and then you can present your case.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I let him look over the
Of course.
presentation first?
this paper, but
Well-
how did we get to this point?
Well, is this a Massey hearing or is this something different?
It's old business. Mr. Derderian requested to be here so that we could reduce a lien.
Oh, this is a reduction of the lien. Okay, then, scratch that. We're going to flip the order of presentation because it's his request.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right, that's what I was
Okay,
asking.
then Ms. Crawford gets to sit down, you get to take her place, and you get to present your rationale for the reduction. Is that what you're going to ask for? Well, you go ahead and take the podium,
Okay.
and you can present whatever you
Yeah.
like.
What I'd like to do is explain to how we actually got here. And it was,
Well, let's, before we do that then, and you know what we
Swear me
forgot
in.
to do? Ms. Crawford, we forgot to swear you in, but that's okay. Let's swear you in for this hearing. Are you going to testify, sir?
Later.
Later? Okay. All right. Would you state your full name again, just for the record?
David Derderian.
Danielle Crawford.
John Costello.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony about to give in the matter now in the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Ms. Crawford, a separate oath for you, okay? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you gave in the prior proceeding was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Now we may proceed.
Okay, thank you. Are all these people on this list in the room here?
What list are you talking about?
The one that she just handed me? I haven't seen this before.
Well, here's the way we're going to, this is your request to reduce the lien.
Okay,
So just say whatever you want to say, and if you need to call a witness, call the witness. And if they're here, they're here. If they're not, they're not. And Ms.
Okay.
Crawford can cross-examine you after you make your presentation, and we'll see how we go from there.
okay, fair enough. You'll have to excuse me, I don't know the exact dates on a lot of this, but that's part of why I'm here today. Roughly 9 years ago, someone had complained to the then current code enforcement person about an illegal garage sale next door to me. I guess when the gentleman's name is Robin, I don't know his last name, but Reland,
So he was a prior code enforcement officer.
yes. He came out and answered that complaint, and he found that they did not have a permit for the garage sale on, I think it was a Sunday. I actually was not there. It's my understanding, based on what Robin told me, he told me all this. So we had a discussion about it. So based on that, the person that was being complained about tried to deflect the ticket that he was going to receive and point the finger at me and said, "Hey, there's a set of stairs there. Look how rickety they are." Okay. I guess Robin looked at it and then wrote a ticket. Okay, so fast forward. I got the ticket. We went to court on it. It was a
In
fixed.
court, you mean at special magistrate?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It was determined at that point to fix or repair or replace. So, and understand, I bought this house during the crash in 2011. So there were cosmetic things wrong with it, a lot of them. So without actually looking at the staircase, immediately what I did was I applied for a permit to rip the stairs down and put a new set up. So I submitted the permit application, and then shortly after that, I was given the approval to tear down whatever I was going to replace. At that point, I actually looked closely at the stairs. I actually realized that this set of stairs that was a whole flight up wasn't even attached to anything. It was just leaning up against the platform, and there was only one bolt in the side of the house, like a wood screw kind of lag bolt, holding the whole thing up. I didn't even know that. So rather than tear it down and go through an expensive process at the time, because I was short on money, I was having some minor health problems, I determined that the stairs, minus a couple of boards, which I replaced, was salvageable, and that it could be fixed and not torn down. Okay, so fast forward from there, I did all of that, fixed it. 6 years later, the stairs are still standing, no issues, nothing happened. No one got hurt, there were no problems with the stairs. At that point, I came into a little bit of money, and I had decided to tear the stairs down. They weren't the best looking. They were functional, but I came up with a design. Excuse me. So I came up with a design, submitted some new plans and a new application for a new permit. It's at that point right then when I did that, the lady in the building department, I believe her name was Gidget. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So submitted the new application. I was friends with somebody that was in the construction business, and I came up with the design. I drew up the design. And at that point, we decided, well, we're going to tear the whole thing down and put something else up that looks better. At that point, Gidget had asked me, what do I want to do with the old permit? I said, what old permit? I never had a permit to begin with. Well, the application that you made. Well, okay, I thought that one, because it wasn't paid for, it was just an application, after 6 years, expired. Well, come to find out that the repairs that I did, apparently Robin never inspected them. He was notified, but he never came out. I never thought twice about it. Now, in that time period of that 6 years, I had a stroke. You might not be able to tell, but the left side of my face is paralyzed. So part of my speech problem is because the whole left side of my face does not move. So we concentrated on tearing the stairs down and putting a new set up. That set was inspected, everything passed, there were no issues. I complained, about this $98,000, I'm not sure what the number is, but it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's $89,000 or $98,000 fine, and they said, well, too bad, there's nothing we're gonna do about it, you have to pay it. I mean, the stairs cost me $3,500 to replace the whole thing, create a new set of stairs, intermediate landing, and then an upper balcony. So shortly after that, I had a heart attack and a stroke, second stroke and a heart attack. So fast forward to today, because of what somebody explained to me, I'm here to beg for a reduction in this fine because I'm disabled. I am on disability, full disability. I don't work. I really don't have any money. I get $2,105 a month from Social Security disability. Okay, so I've got numerous things going on. I've got a torn ACL. I've got neuropathy in my feet from the heart attack. I have an artificial heart valve. I've got a scar all the way across my chest where they pulled my heart out, fixed it. So I've got paralysis in my face. I've got 4 pinched discs in my back, which I just recently, 3 weeks ago, had surgery on. I've had Lyme's disease. My eyesight on a yearly basis is actually deteriorating to the point where glasses only last about 6 months. All of this considered, I can't pay this ridiculous fine. It's outrageous. I mean, anybody outside of, Cocoa Beach looks at it and they laugh at it and say, how can that possibly be? I mean, to me, it looks like there was a mistake made somewhere after I fixed the original steps. I certainly didn't mean to not comply with the order. I mean, I did right away, within days. Apparently where the shortcoming is that Robin was supposed to inspect what I did, and he never did. And now today, he doesn't work for this, for the city anymore. I mean, nobody will tell me why he got fired, other than he got fired. But I can tell you that I've seen some of his actions throughout the years, and they're less than honorable. You know, I mean, I learned that he was actually trying to bid on the house that I bought. And so he was kind of, had an attitude about the house because he lost it and I got it. I mean, when I did that, I didn't even know who he was. You know, but I learned this, you know, years later. So with all the problems that I've got, I'm on a daily basis in pain beyond belief. You know, right now I'm working to make sure that they don't cut my feet off. I have neuropathy so bad that my feet, I can't feel them. I can hardly walk. You know, I'm very unstable. I mean, just standing here, you know, it hurts. And as time goes on, you're going to be able to hear it because I can't do this much longer. I do need to sit down. So,
Please do it anytime.
no, I just want to finish. I mean, you know, I apologize to anybody that was
I
involved.
mean, you can use the microphone sitting down, I suppose, if
Oh,
you need to.
oh, okay. You know, the worst part is the 4-pitch discs. That hurts a lot. I see Dr. Armstrong on a daily basis.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So, I mean, I didn't mean to disrespect anybody or to not comply with what was going on. I mean, immediately I did. Like I said, I discovered that a flight of stairs that, I don't know, I think maybe it was probably 20 to 30 feet long in length and, you know, going a full story high, was only attached by one bolt right in the center of the stairs and against the house. Now, I didn't do that, and I don't know who did, because I did try to look to see, like, were there ever any permits pulled for things like that? And there's nothing. Actually, there's not even a set of blueprints on record for the house itself with the city. It was built in '77, so apparently there wasn't
Let me
that.
ask you a quick question. You may have said it, but I didn't get it then. Is this your homestead?
Yes, I live there,
Okay.
full-time. And matter of fact, I'm the only one that lives there. But, you know, so I do have caregivers. I can't mow the lawn. I have to have someone come in and do that. Actually have a lady that comes in and does that for me. You know, I have a housekeeper that takes care of the house and a certain amount of meals and does quite a bit of work for me. I mean, all of these things that, you know, we all take for granted, all of a sudden, for me, has become an absolute nightmare. I mean, I can't lift up a basket of clothes. So it's difficult, and I'm struggling with everything right now. And until, you know, I guess until I have a surgery on my back again, where they're going to, you know, remove half of the back of my spine and then fuse it all together, I may be stuck like this forever. You know, but that answer does not sound very good to me at the moment. So the point is that I did everything that I was asked to do, and I didn't mean to ignore anything. And if somebody thinks that I did, well, part of it was because of the heart attack and the 2 strokes. I mean, I didn't give it a second thought because the stairs were fixed. You know, and they lasted 6 years beyond that date until I decided to tear them down myself. So in essence, there really wasn't a whole lot of deterioration going on. It's the fact that whoever built them to begin with did a poor job. You know, and I would greatly appreciate at this point, because I think I acted in good faith, that I shouldn't have to pay for anything. I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I waited for Robin and, you know, he never showed up. It was an omission, you know, in part by me. I just assumed that he had shown
You
up.
did not call Mr. Reland and ask him to come out for inspection?
Oh, I did, but never, yeah, but, you know, he never responded. So I just assumed, you know, it wasn't out of malice or anything like that. I just assumed that he had done it. I mean, I only live half a mile away from the city, so, and when I went and got the new permit, like I said, at that point, that's when I discovered that there was this issue. Nobody sent me any letters. No bill was ever sent. Apparently, the city filed a lien against my house. I never even got notice of a lien. I had to go and verify that on my own. I mean, the city failed in multiple areas. In my opinion, I think at least they should have sent a letter after, I don't know, 6 months or a year. You would think that maybe they would do that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the policy is, but it just seems like, a logical and responsible thing for a city government to do. But, I never got anything. And I would have addressed this a long time ago if that were the case. And in closing on this, please keep in mind that I've had to argue and yell and scream and beg and plead to be here today for like the last 6 years. This has been a 6-year effort just to get to here because they didn't want to cooperate. They thought that a $98,000 fine is reasonable for something that only costs $3,500.
Well, here we are today, so let's see what, Ms. Crawford, do you have any questions of the? No cross-examination? Okay, do you have any other evidence you'd like to submit?
I would just ask the city to, be kind of magnanimous about this and dismiss this and let this go. I mean, whatever you assess me right now means that next month I won't be able to pay all my bills. I barely get enough from Social Security to cover what my expenses are. And I have no money left because of all the medical problems that I've had. I've spent, my insurance has covered more than $1 million of surgeries and whatnot in the last 6 years based on, on my heart. I've got an artificial heart valve, an aortic heart valve. So, and that was 5 years ago. And I know that because the warranty on the valve expired in November when I had the surgery. So it's a 5-year warranty on it. I'm post 5-year surgery and still not anywhere close to being normal.
Well, let's see what the city has to say on its side, and you, like I said, you can cross-examine the city too, so.
Okay. Would you like me to sit back over there?
Wherever you don't have to move that far, I guess, if you could just move that
Well,
chair out of the way,
oh.
whatever's good for you.
Is that good?
Yeah.
If you're having trouble walking.
I don't want to get you sick. It's
Okay.
just the flu, but holy cow.
All right, Ms. Crawford.
So I'll go through it really quick. I just wanted to put together, like, this is his house, this is his home. It is homestead. If you go to the next one. Let's see, so way back in August of 2016, the order was made with a $50 a day fine. He had like a day and a half to correct the violations.
No, that's not.
Well, hang on, Ms. Crawford gets this,
Okay.
you can ask her questions after she's through with
Yeah,
it.
and all of this, this is just from what I can see in documents. So not like personal knowledge. So if you go to the next slide.
What is the total of the lien right now?
So if you click ahead, it's at $97,255.
97 what now?
$97,255.
55, okay.
And that's because the daily fines didn't end until August 28th, 2021. So it was a little over 5 years. If you go to the next slide, so just understandably, it is a huge fine. So what we did was we roughly calculated what we would call hard costs, and just going through, again, just old documentation and just some new assessments. This is what we've come up with, and this would be our suggestion for the lien reduction.
Oh, okay, so under the city code, which I understand it does have the ability for the special magistrate to issue an order, what the city is asking for is limiting its request for, I guess is the best way to say it, is only to recoup administrative costs, which
Yes,
you're calling them hard cost.
yeah, administrative costs, yeah, that's a good word.
And forgive the basically the lien
Yes,
in its totality. Okay. That's, so let me just clarify again. The city is, and sir, you need to listen, sir, listen to this carefully. What the city's position is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Crawford, is that it is proposing that an order be entered forgiving the lien in its totality, except for the administrative costs which have accrued, the city has incurred since its inception of this case in 2016, which is getting to be a decade long, in the total amount of $2,199.52. So, do you have any,
yes.
do you have anything further?
Nothing further.
Do you have any questions of the city now? And you feel free to sit down and ask your questions while you're sitting down.
Okay. Well, first, I'd like to say thank you. That's a pretty generous offer.
Well, maybe I can, I typically don't interject myself at all in this. Are you familiar with code enforcement proceedings very much?
No, sir.
Okay.
I've never been in violation of a code in my
Okay.
life. I
Well,
mean,
let me just, and unless you object, Ms. Crawford,
No, I don't object.
let me just, I've been doing this since 1985 when I got out of the Army JAG Corps, okay? And what is not unusual is for cities to strictly adhere to the amount of the fine. What is very typical is to have a reduction formula where they might allow a reduction of the fine, and the lowest I've ever seen is like, Sanford, I think, is like 50%, or I think you can get down to 10% based upon certain criteria, whatever. But all jurisdictions that I'm familiar with ensure that they recoup the administrative cost, which is what the city has called hard costs, but they're administrative costs. But Crawford has characterized them as that also. So you're right. It's a very generous offer, if you will, to totally eliminate the lien. Well, not eliminate the fine.
I know what you're saying.
Fine.
Yes, I understand.
Because if you don't pay the administrative costs, I assume that the city's going to want the typical language in the order saying it reverts back to if the fine isn't paid, if the administrative costs aren't paid within some number of days, which you're going to propose, I suppose, then the elimination of the fine doesn't occur. So what you're arguing about is $2,199.52. So now you can ask Ms. Crawford your questions.
Okay.
I hope that helped.
No, actually, yes, it does. I mean, it clarifies what I assumed was the case. You know, I look at this and I can understand some of it. I would just like to go on the record as saying that for Danielle Crawford, David Dickey, Becky Vose, and Lonnie. Oh, that's you, right? You're Mr. Groot?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't see that, though. I'm
Oh,
up
it's
there.
the last line.
Okay.
You're on there. Minus you.
This is from the last case.
Oh.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I was just.
I see you now up there. Okay.
So minus you, I don't really know who these other people are, other than Dave Dickey, which I had conversations with.
Okay, well, let's just do this. Ms. Crawford, do you know who the people are?
I do.
Then why don't you just
Yeah, I can go through.
take
it.
that
And
as a
then-
question, who are these people, and go ahead and answer the question as who are the
and then
people?
Can I bring you one so you can see?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you. I will say, when you just had a city go down $98,000, you're somewhat quibbling, but you're free to do that.
I'd just like to understand. I'm
Okay,
not,
then I'm sure Ms. Crawford wants you to, so would you just
okay.
outline who the people are?
And I would only ask one thing, just based on my income. I mean, right now I don't have $2,200 to just hand over.
Well, let's get to that. You asked the question, Ms. Crawford's
Oh,
willing to
okay.
answer it. So-
Okay.
Okay. Unless you don't want the name of what the people are anymore.
It's not pertinent to finishing this.
Okay,
I
then
just
let's
would like
stop
to-
that, okay?
All I'm asking is, I'll take the 2199.52, but is it possible to make some installments?
Well, here's what I imagine the city's gonna say, and I'm not arguing the city's case. It's possible that the city could agree to that, but what you may not have heard earlier is if you fail to pay them on time, it's gonna revert back to the 97,000 plus.
Right.
So
Uh,
I want you to
how about-
understand that if the city does agree to that,
Okay.
You make a-
How about a credit card?
Yeah, and what would work for you is, that would be my question. Like,
okay,
what-
Ms. Crawford, there's,
Oh, perfect, because I don't know about finance.
we swore you in earlier, didn't
Yeah, Jay Castillo, building official. Speaking with administration on it too, and depending on what you could do, we would be open to doing some installments and working with you on it.
Okay.
90 days, 6 months, something like that you could do and work with,
I probably could work with 6 months.
okay?
Well, we're at the stage where we need to go beyond probably. So
Then we would be okay with 6 months.
you'd be okay, city's okay with 6 months?
Yes.
Are you okay with 6 months?
Yes.
Okay. Y'all need to check me on this, because I am the world's worst at this.
I was gonna say, don't ask.
I come up with 366.59 per month for 6 months.
It looks like Javier is maybe checking the
that
math. It looks like
somebody
Javier is also checking the math.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. This is recorded, and my wife needs to see this.
Okay.
Okay, so what I hear is a consensus between the city and the respondent that the respondent will pay starting when?
In the,
When can you make your first payment?
February 1st?
okay,
Starting February 1st, and on the first day of each month for 6 months, for the following 5 months, that is. Listen to me now, you're gonna make a payment of $366.59. But should you fail to make those payments, the fine's gonna revert back to the amount, and all you will get is a credit on the amount of the fine. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that what the city intends?
yes.
Now, I would like to point out that I'm not done with surgery and my days are numbered. If I wind up in the hospital and miss a payment, I still would appreciate, at some point catching it up within the 6 months. No extension on the total time.
I understand that, but I'm gonna tell you something. And I appreciate your health issues, okay? But that just, tell me if I'm wrong. My experience with government after all these years, is that's gonna cause a problem, because now we're back to why was it missed? And then there's the dispute about that, and if there's some way, I know, you can do it automatically.
Oh, okay,
There
that's
you
fine.
go.
I didn't know that
Bingo.
we could do that.
Just do it automatically, and
That's fine.
and there won't be an issue.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, that sound like the way everybody wants to go on this? City
Yes.
and the respondent? Okay, an order will be entered to that effect then. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are at Massey hearings, correct?
Yes.
Case is case number CBPD-23-711. The respondent is Beach Street Place LLC. And I'm going to call, that was the first call, Beach Street Place LLC. Present? No. Beach Street Place LLC. I've called 3 times and no respondent has appeared. Ms. Crawford, you may proceed.
Thank you. So as you mentioned, this is a Massey hearing. If you could go to the next slide. Keep going. I don't have to. Okay, so here. So there were some agreements that we put into order. We asked that the respondent, oh, could you go back? We asked that the respondent remove the fence that was in disrepair by July 31st, which is completed. Replace the rotting and loose stair treads by July 31st, that has been completed. Provide the engineer report and apply for a building permit for the roof by October 2nd, that has not occurred. Adjust laundry door opening, that has not occurred. Add a ramp to the laundry room, this has been completed. If you go to the next slide, this is what was put into order on July 10th. Those are the dates again. So the orders were provided via email, as most of the mail comes back. Keep going. Completed. Yes, please. So on July 14th, the respondent sent this in good faith, just showing that he was working on completing the roof project. On August 16th, there were some preliminary plans sent via Coastal Construction LLC. The respondent informed us that he spent $20,000 for plans that he did not intend to go through with due to the expenses, which is fine, but the engineer reports still weren't submitted. We can continue. So after the date of compliance, I reached out to the respondent, again, asking for the engineer reports and again, trying to be as generous as possible, extending that compliance date to October 25th for the engineer reports and November 1st for submitting that permit. I did not receive a response. On October 18th, the respondent provided another document from another roofing company that again, they weren't engineer reports. Yep. Okay, continue. Ooh, back one. You go back one. Yep. So again, he sent this preliminary engineer report that was, it doesn't have a seal, it's not signed, it was looked over by Chief Building Official Jay Castillo. We couldn't accept it. So if we could continue. Again, informed the respondent that this couldn't be accepted. So went ahead and sent the Massey hearing notice. Completed the postings. Yep, completed that posting. There's the affidavit of the postings. Reached out about the Massey hearing via email. He stated he was pulling a roof permit in the following days. This was back in December. And to make a very long story short, there's still, a permit has not been applied for. We have not received engineering reports. And that date of compliance within the order that you set was October 2nd, 2024. So here we are in January. Just on Monday, again, received some more documents, unsigned, not sealed, not engineer reports. This does appear to be a contract with a local roofing company. And from what I understand, the respondent was on the phone with the chief building official this morning. So if we could grab Jay and we can kind of relay what the respondent.
But the respondent's not in compliance.
He's not here, he's not in compliance.
He's not contesting it, so you can call the witness if you'd like, but
Yeah, I would like Jay just to relay whatever the respondent wanted to relay.
what was the daily fine again?
So I don't believe we established a daily fine. It just said, yes, this is Riley.
Okay.
Um,
You have the
just-
prior order, Andy?
Yeah, I do. If you could actually go back and then I'll grab it. In the order, it stated that we could fine him up to $500 for repeat violations. So what the city would ask for is for a daily fine to begin today for every day that he remains non-compliant. And I will grab.
But he was not in a repeat violation
No.
at the, he was, had not, the original order was not for a repeat violation.
Correct. Yeah.
So this would really not be a repeat violation. This would just be a fine, initial fine.
Yeah, an initial.
On the first violation, which was not established. But go ahead, we have, unless you convince me otherwise, established that he's not in compliance, so you go ahead and.
Yeah, Jay Costello, building official. I did talk to Riley this morning. He did call. So I guess just to get some information, because unfortunately I didn't hear what we started with here on, was he did state that he got which is listed up there, it's a general contractor, roofing contractor, that he's going to do a permit with them. They should be submitting today or tomorrow on their permit to look to repair it. My issue with this situation is we believe that the roof is not properly attached. Engineering was asked to.
That's the property maintenance aspect.
Yeah, yes. And engineering was asked so we could determine whether or not strapping and stuff was
The
required.
engineering report.
I am open to, as the building official, with a GC, a licensed GC contractor, to maybe, once the permit is met or pulled, to go out there, meet with them and see what is existing there, because Riley again this morning said that he's had some other people say that the roof is perfectly fine. So now we're getting two different
got you.
contractors. So just me as the building official, I need to set eyes on it and see. I did tell Riley that we were proceeding with the case. It's been delayed too long. He had been taking too long to come to this point, and all of a sudden, last minute, saying this is going on. As I said, so I don't think that's going to affect the case going, but that I am open to it. And if I can go there, see this, determine that yes, strapping's not needed or strapping is existing, then then I guess we would handle it accordingly.
But in the meantime, he's not in compliance with the prior order.
Correct.
So what's the city suggesting as a daily fine commencing tomorrow?
50.
Or actually today, we can do it.
It's been longer. I mean, me personally, and for the city, I would say $100 a day.
Okay. So the city is asking for a $100 a day fine commencing today, and we'll get this order out today.
I mean, I do have the previous order if you wanted to look at it.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you want to introduce that?
Yes, please.
Okay, then.
Enter this. Thank you.
Okay.
And I know the respondent isn't here in person, but he is on the phone. I don't know if you would be willing to.
Well, I'm willing. I don't know if, did we go through this recently with somebody else? No, it
I
was,
thought we did one, a couple ones back.
We did, and I believe we determined we would accept it if it was like face, we could see face.
yeah, and also, the person can't, it won't mean anything because it's not sworn testimony.
Right.
So if you want to have him make argument for or against what you're suggesting on the phone, I have no problem with that, but it won't be accepted as evidence. It'd just be argument.
Do we have to call him and say? He's on the phone. Oh, he's on the phone
That
now?
make- Does that make sense?
I think he would still like to be heard.
Okay.
But I understand it
If you
won't
have
be.
no objection, then
I don't.
I'll listen to the argument.
Okay.
Has he heard what you just was said? Okay, well, we'll fill him in when,
Somebody take him off mute.
And maybe put him on speaker, and maybe that'll be
Yeah.
loud enough to where it work.
well, the key is whether the,
All right. Hi, Riley. We're gonna try to have you communicate with the special magistrate if you're ready.
Sounds good. I'm good.
could you say something?
Hey, Riley, go ahead and just
Speak loud.
speak loud for a second.
Hey, can you hear me, Jay?
Yeah, that's
Are you
good.
able to hear me?
Okay, yes, he can hear you.
Okay,
perfect.
is it Riley?
So, yeah, it's Riley, and so the magistrate's going to give you a couple things first, and then he'll allow you to speak.
Okay,
sounds
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. It's
Okay.
a little faint, but I can hear.
Okay, what the city is proposing is that you be found that you did not come into compliance and that a fine commenced today in the amount of $100 per day until you come into compliance. So I cannot I cannot listen to you as a sworn witness because you're not here to be sworn, but I can listen to you and have it recorded about what your argument is about for or against agreeing or not agreeing to that resolution at this time.
Okay.
Okay, let's put him back. You guys record this, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's put him on the mic then.
Okay, got you by the microphone. You can go now, Riley.
Okay. So basically the difficulty's been, so originally when we're getting the roof replaced, this was 2 years ago. The roofer stopped and said, hey, I want to get this re-engineered and I want to completely
Let me
tear off this roof.
Let me interrupt real quick.
Yep.
See, you're going into testimony. All that doesn't matter. Right now, the only thing you can talk about is whether or not you agree to the $100 a day, or you think it's too little or too much or whatever. That's all we
Okay.
can hear right now.
Okay, well, I guess my question is I'm going to be pulling a permit today to replace the roof. Will that stop the fine? Because that's the process. I can't guarantee how long it's going to be, and I don't want to spend $3,000 a month or $100 a day. Basically, if I am in the process of getting it replaced, and the permit's being pulled today.
Well, that's between, the city's expressed their position. If the city wants to modify it, that's up to the city.
So, yes, I did let the magistrate know that I spoke to you before and that you were looking to pull the permit today, and that if the permit got pulled today and I could meet that GC and, again, it's ands and ifs, and we find out that it doesn't need strapping and stuff, then yes, we would definitely consider that. If it drags on and stuff like that, then, no, we would not consider removing the fine.
Let me suggest something. Having just heard what, I'm not arguing for you or.
Yeah, I understand.
It sounds like you want to work with the respondent. What if you say it'll file will commence in 15 days unless an affidavit of compliance is filed,
Can we do,
whatever number of days you want.
I would like to recommend a week.
A week, whatever.
I'd like to recommend a week, and if he's got what he needs, then,
So the city is now proposing that a fine commence in 7 days unless an affidavit of compliance is filed.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm
Okay.
fine with that. And then
Alright.
if permit's pulled and everything starts.
Well, you can talk about that later.
yeah, well, and that's something that you and I will talk about, but as far as the magistrate goes, if I'm not speaking out of turn here, is you've got 7 days to get to where we are, and if it doesn't happen, then it's another magistrate or, from there. Okay,
That's good with me. That's good with me.
okay.
All right. Then I will enter,
All right, I'm gonna hang up on you, Riley.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye.
then I'm going to enter an order to that effect, okay?
Okay.
If a fine, if compliance, if an affidavit of compliance is not filed within 7 days, a fine of $100 a day will start on that day, or the day after. It'll work out. Okay?
Okay.
Anything else on that case?
No, nothing further.
Okay.
So,
Next case is case number DSCE-24-46, Min Chi Ta and Van Lee T. Lee. Ms. Ta, Mr. Lee, I think it's Mr. Lee. Ms. Ta, Mr. Lee. Ms. Ta, Mr. Lee, called 3 times, no one's present, you may proceed.
so this case has completely come into compliance, and I'll be filing the affidavit of compliance.
That's great, that's good, that's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next case is case number DSCE-24-136, Rachel Aragon. Ms. Aragon? Ms. Aragon? Ms. Aragon, I've called 3 times, no response. Ms. Crawford, you may proceed.
Thank you. So this case for Rachel Aragon at the property 645 South Atlantic Avenue. On the next slide, you'll see the property search, the property appraiser showing that she is the owner. The property is homestead. And the city believes that she is in violation of section 13-2, license permit required. We asked the respondent to obtain a business tax receipt for running her vacation rental business at this property.
Is this the lady who came down from Ohio or something like that?
No.
No, okay.
On the next slide, we also believe that she's in violation of 26.5-21, registration required. We asked the respondent to register the vacation rental with the city as well as obtaining that BTR. And interestingly enough, at the original hearing, she had come into compliance for over occupancy, but has since adjusted her listings. And so now she is, as of this time, she's over occupancy again.
He is over,
Yep.
well, let me ask you this then.
Yeah, we need to, I think, jump ahead.
So what
to
was the
orders.
fine in the original order?
If we could jump ahead. So I believe it's $250 a day
For each violation?
for each violation.
So
Keep going.
you're saying that there was no compliance ever attained for the first 2 violations, section 13-2 and section 26.5-21. But there was compliance in as to the section 26.5-53 violation. And when did that violation come into compliance?
It had previously come into compliance before the September 11th hearing. But as of, it's later in the slide, but as of December 31st, I believe, she is now over occupancy.
So she came into compliance,
Before the September 11th hearing,
okay. But then after, starting on September 31st, she was in non-compliance again?
yes. So if you see here, if you back it up a couple of slides. On Airbnb, she has the vacation rental listed over occupancy at 10 guests. And then we also have, now we have 2 reviews also just showing that she's continued to rent.
So she's a repeat violator as to she's an unrebutted police repeat violator.
Yes.
As to the last violation, and how much of a fine do you suggest to be on that?
For-
She's now subject to a $500 per day fine.
Yes. So for over occupancy, it's a $500 citation or fine. And then for not having the BTR and not having the vacation rental registration, those are each $250 a day.
Oh, that's right. Well, it's not, so you're asking for only a $500 fine for the, not a daily fine. Do you have the order?
I do. I do.
It's cold in this place, isn't it? Yes. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I get, it's like a, so for the section 13-2 violation, that's under the local business tax. So the most she can be charged is $250 for the fine,
I see.
and whatever the statute allows for a late payment of the tax. And she hasn't paid the tax yet.
No, she
So
has not.
that continues to run as it was.
Okay.
For section 26.5-21, that fine is running at $250 a day. And I'm finding that that violation was not corrected in this Massey hearing. The first violation, that violation was found to exist, period. That's
Right.
not something that would really be subject to a Massey hearing.
Okay.
As to the third violation, 26.5-53, the city did not ask for a fine, and there was no fine assessed, but the respondent was subject to a $500 per day fine for future violations, which we are now finding that as of September 31st, the
As a,
respondent was in violation, and the order takes care of that on its own, but an order will be entered affirming all these things based upon this Massey hearing. Does that make sense?
yes.
And does the city want to introduce this packet into evidence?
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's the order that'll be entered.
Okay.
It's basically affirming the prior order and finding that noncompliance with the second violation, 26.5-21, and finding that the violation of 26.5-53 was corrected, but has been repeated,
Yes.
and therefore subjected the respondent to a $500 per day fine as set forth in the prior order. And that'll be the order that'll be entered.
Thank you.
Okay?
I believe that is all of our cases for today.
Okay, there's nothing further to be brought before the special magistrate today. We're adjourned.